Let's freaking go. It is PHL Saturday Night Live, baby. It is Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Eve, I am so fired up for this glorious night of content. Don't forget, we have a huge Joe Burrow football card giveaway. We're doing one on Twitter. We are also doing one on YouTube. And we're also previewing and trying out Facebook. I started a Power Hour LSU Facebook page. I don't know when I will start doing Ponzi schemes. That is a normal Facebook way of doing things. So at some point, we will start doing that because that's what you do on the Zuckerberg page. But of course, I've always preferred YouTube. That is my way of going. But I've gotten a few messages. Hey, my grandmother's not, I don't know why grandmother, but someone did say, hey, my grandmother can't figure out YouTube, but she is on Facebook. So we obviously are not ageist here on PHL. We love people of all ages, all sizes, all demographics. So we are, guess what? Going to start posting more content on the Power Hour LSU Facebook page. We say hi to Fantastic Funky Bunch. Joshua was the first person in here. My glorious fiance, hey, and Official Friday. Oh, what's up? Good to see you. So we got a lot to get to tonight. I want to talk a little bit about some advanced numbers that support Jaden Daniels as the LSU starting quarterback going into next year. Obviously, his rushing numbers are truly transcendent. What I want to see better, though, is just the hard yard per play numbers to get up. But when you look at success rate, when you look at EPA per play, when you look at QBR, these advanced metrics, love them some Jaden Daniels. And it is amazing how many people I have seen that are way smarter than I am that have gone to their respective betting gates and have already placed their bets for LSU to win the national championship next season. So we got a lot to get to involving that, not a whole lot of time. We say hi to Chance, we say hi to Aaron, we say hi to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you this really quickly. And it's not anything truly transcendent here, but this is one of my favorite Joe Burrow cards, and I'm giving it away for free on twitter.com. All you have to do is go follow the Power Hour LSU Twitter page. And all you got to do is underneath this photo, guess the total amount of Joe Burrow passing yards. But the number I'm looking for is the total amount of points in the Bengals Chiefs game. So if you guess that number, guess what? You win the card. And the tiebreaker, let's say a few people had the same score, will be Joe Burrow's total amount of passing yards. Now, we're also doing another one on patreon.com/LSU football, and that actually involves a better Joe Burrow card that I will be giving out there for our patrons. So want to give out as much of my collection as I possibly can. I'm a true believer in that, spreading the love of the football card hobby. It's what I do, baby. So really excited about that. This will be one of the cards I'll be giving away on Patreon. This is a very cool, clear Joe Burrow card. As you can see, you can even see my face through this card. It's one of my favorites that I have, and that is going to a patron. So you go to patreon.com/LSU football, sign up. You automatically get some good stuff for me when you do sign up. And also something else on Patreon, I'm giving away a Jeremy Hill Bengals card as well. So obviously pretty fired up about tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot of Bengals versus Chiefs. We're also going to talk some 49ers versus Eagles. I know a lot of you are fans of the National Football League on top of being a fan of LSU football because NFL LSU, right? NFL LSU. All the players that we have going everywhere. I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is really going to play tomorrow. I think it's going to be a lot of Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. So we'll see. Now, what I will say at the beginning of tonight's live stream, okay, is I know a lot of you are going to helicopter in and want to talk about some LSU basketball. I'm fine talking about LSU women's basketball. I'm fine with the occasional LSU baseball question. I'm not an expert at either one of those things. But folks, LSU basketball right now, the issue for me is I can't sit and watch it. Like, it's painful to watch that. And I'm always supportive of everybody that wears a purple and gold. College sports is really hard, but we are painful to watch. Painful. And I hate that. I really, really, really do. I don't like painful. I like enjoying what I'm seeing. And we're painful right now. So I'll chat a little bit more about that a little bit later. Okay. Now, as many of you know, if this just happens to be your first time that you've ever watched a PHL live stream, we say hi to Skipper. What's up, man? Good to see you. Um, you guys know I like to dig deep. I like to dive deep into the data. I love looking at all kinds of LSU football numbers. I love looking at all kinds of LSU football statistics. I am definitely one of those guys that truly believes that analytics can mix in with film. And even though I'm not an expert in either one of those, earlier this week I was able to do a little bit of chalk talk with the greatest football mind of all time. That, of course, was Peyton Manning. I'll never forget that. It's probably top 5 thing that's ever happened in my career. Got the good fortune of beating Peyton, Archie, and Eli. Peyton's football mind is truly on a different level. I quickly moved on from the chalk talk because his mind is just crazy. But what I will say is, you can look at the analytics, you can look at the film, and you can come to your own conclusions of where LSU needs to improve as a team going into next year, right? I know it's very early. I know we have an early signing period that's already happened. I know we have a later signing period coming up, which is not as impactful as it used to be. Obviously, we have a lot of data to sift through regarding LSU football. Um, and look, what I will say is this is as dead of a period for LSU football as you're going to find. I know I hurt myself not doing LSU baseball or LSU basketball like content on the normal. I just feel like we're a little the channel's a little bit better if you just focus in on one sport. But what I will say is LSU baseball's got a lot of hype. This is the most hyped team in quite some time. I can't name 5 players. I just can't. So what I will say is if they start winning a lot, I still won't talk about them a whole bunch, but I will update you on scores and whatnot. But I truly do believe there are a lot of people that are in LSU media that try and talk about LSU baseball, but they actually don't follow it. They just do it because it's popular. That's not what I'm going to do. Okay. I know who Gavin Dugas is. I know who Dylan Cruz is. I know who Trey Morgan is. And those are the only 3 players I can name on the team. Like, it's no disrespect to anyone else on the team. And I know Jay Johnson's the coach, and Wes Johnson is the pitching coach. Only reason I know that is because he used to be a neighbor of my absolute best friend. So I don't know enough about LSU baseball. So we're going to pound through LSU football. I promise you, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of Jacoby and Guillory talk. We're going to go deep into the backups. We're going to talk some Landon Ibieta on this channel over the next couple of weeks. Do I have a Joe Burrow autograph card? Swamp Donkey, I cannot say that answer aloud because I know somebody will track me down and break into my house because I'm just kidding. They are pretty expensive. Yeah, I do, but I don't have any that are like super high end. It might be like a few hundo bucks. Like it's not one of these $50,000 Joe Burrow autograph cards. But what I'll do, Swamp Donkey, a little bit later is I will show you a few of them because our guest a little bit later will be breaking down the NFC and AFC championship games. And he is also my football card co-host on the Fantasy Football Card Quest. That is none other than Andy Cason. So we're going to be chatting with him a little bit later. Okay. You need to know Paul Skeens and Tommy Tanks in baseball. So I've seen their names on Twitter. I think Skeens is a pitcher or Skinnis, and Tommy Tanks. I just love that name. I've seen him. He is a unit. He does look like a tank. So yeah, I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. So, Chance, I'm going to rely on you for your baseball knowledge. Now, what I want to get into next year and this year's upcoming off season is we don't have spring football yet, right? We don't even know what the spring football dates are. I don't think we know the spring football dates anywhere up to this point. And obviously, most of the damage that LSU is going to do in recruiting and in the transfer portal has already been done, right? So this leads me into my first point tonight. I know a lot of you have piled on me about the early signing period, right? About how much I hate it. Don't you notice right now? I'm talking about right now. There is nothing happening in football. Nothing. Okay. The only thing I can report is LSU had a crap ton of visitors in, but it was for the 2024 and 2025 cycles. So players and you guys know on this channel, we don't really talk a whole lot of 2024 and 2025 recruiting because it is so early in the cycle. But that a ton of big time visitors, most of which play defensive back, which I think are very interesting. One of which is a 5-star DB committed to Alabama, which is obviously a really interesting thing. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, there's just not a whole lot going on right now in football. So wouldn't this dead period right now just be the absolute time to actually do the signing period and not actually rush to have a big time signing period while bowls are happening, while a national championship game hasn't even happened, before the playoff has even happened? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do what we've seen teams do, which is obviously hire and fire coaches in a very short period of time, having to put together recruiting classes in a week's time. It's not good for the sport. So, right now, when nothing is happening in football, this would be the perfect time for the actual recruiting cycles. Now, I understand. Well, what about the early enrollees? They could still early enroll. You could still do it. Just push it back. I don't get the need to have everything just happen, right? But that's not here nor there. What I will say is, honestly, and I do mean this from the absolute bottom of my heart when I say what I'm about to say, I don't think spring football is as important as we think it is. Now, players that do end up being good players, um, oftentimes point to spring football saying, "Hey, this helped me get a head start. This helped me get my feet wet. This helped me get things going in my career. I was ready." And I totally get that. I totally get that. But at the same time, okay, at the same exact time, what I will say is there were a lot of players that didn't enroll until the fall that were big time players on this year's LSU football team. I don't think early enrolling is as important as people think it is, right? I don't quite get the rush. I don't. Enjoy your final year of high school. Um, and you got players practicing with the team when they haven't even played their bowl game, even though they can't play in the bowl game. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But do I mind early signing in other sports? Well, I'm not as well versed as early signing in other sports. But what I will say is other sports don't have the same numbers, don't have the same dynamics as football does, right? So yeah, I mean, it's not that I dislike early signing in football. It's not what I'm saying at all. My major point, and it's a very simple one, okay? My biggest issue with the early signing period is it is in an absolute brutal portion of the schedule. And it puts coaching and staffers at a bad spot. Now, obviously you have to adjust. The best coaches that adjust to it are the ones, and it's been this way for 2 years now. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know if there's anything you could change about it. But what I will say is the early period is not good. I just don't think it's good. Can't believe it. A week from today, I will be a married man. Can you believe that? I don't know if I'm ready. Kidding. I'm born ready. Let's see here. Same Jared LMAO. That's cool, man. I'm starting on time. I'm being so my philosophy with starting a little bit later is quite simple. When I started my live streams like 5 minutes after the scheduled time, I saw less amount of people being lost in the earlier portions of the stream, right? Where your finger tries to scroll backwards or forward. I like as many people to be in at the beginning. I don't have any entrance music or anything like that. That might change pretty soon, honestly. But I like everyone to be in at the same portion. But now I'm changing it up. We are starting right on the dot every single time, or at least I'm going to attempt to do that. Okay. All right. Being as punctual as I possibly can as a big New Year's resolution. Normally I am on time for stuff, but I want to be perfect. Okay. We say hi to Will. What's up, man? Good to see you. I love the photo and the background. Gotta love it. Basketball needs early, late, and all signing periods. TJ, good to see you, my friend. Once again, live on Facebook tonight as well. I right now on Facebook have 13 likes and 17 followers. I love it. I don't know if this Facebook experiment is going to be good, bad, or indifferent. We'll see. Yeah, I've talked to Hal a few times. He's not as active on the live chats, but yeah, I mean, he was actually one of the first people to like the Facebook page. So Hal's doing just fine. So, the title of the video is Jane Daniels Advanced Stats, right? The one thing that I just kept going back to is when you look at the EPA per run and EPA per pass stats, Jane Daniels was in the same atmosphere as Bryce Young, who was phenomenal this year as the Alabama quarterback. He was very hurt, but he was phenomenal, right? And obviously, you can't just look at EPA per play. You can't just look at EPA per run and EPA per pass. You got to look at the film. I do think scrambling is something that needs to be adjusted when it comes to advanced stats. But still, Jaden was very good in terms of efficiency. When you look at success rate, he was very good. Look at the rushing numbers. He was an all-time, LSU rusher. And when it comes to all players in college football, he broke the most tackles. It is unfreaking believable what that guy did for LSU last year. And, for me, I think the advanced stats back up Brian Kelly's decision to roll with Jaden Daniels as the starter next year. And Garrett Nussmeier push him for that starter's job. Because even though those advanced numbers look really good for Jaden, I went through today and looked at a little bit more film. I looked at some NFL plays and how they go about, breaking down plays and how they run certain plays that LSU runs. I saw a very interesting correlation with a Jaden Daniels missed throw. where the Rams actually run a play that we run, the Sean McVay Super Bowl champion Rams. And what I decided to do was ask myself, hey, do I expect a college quarterback to be able to make this type of throw? Because it wasn't a simple throw. It wasn't a simple read. It was a play versus Alabama a little bit earlier in the game. And the answer was maybe, right? I think, a fifth-year quarterback next year should be able to do some of the things that were open for Jaden to throw last year. So I will honestly say this. Jaden is a very good quarterback with some flaws as a passer. And I know that's been my opinion for a while. I know a lot of you feel that same way. But for LSU to live up to the national championship billing, a lot of these Vegas guys that are betting, LSU at plus 2,000 to win a title next year, that's what they're hoping for, right? Because Jaden had a very Stetson Bennett kind of year this past year. Not this year Stetson, but the year before, where, he was a mobile quarterback who was efficient enough for LSU to win a lot of games. Okay. So the truth still remains the same with Jaden Daniels. Is he still a big time quarterback? Yeah. Are we very lucky to still have him? Yes. But the next step is absolutely letting that mother effer rip. And he is going to need to do that. We set a record for sacks. Actually, Kentucky set a record for sacks, but if they weren't as bad as taking the sacks, we would have clearly set an SEC record for sacks taken. Some of those sacks were good sacks. Sometimes you got to eat the ball, but it's obviously a little bit different. So there you go. So everybody, welcome Chris. This is why, I do in the Facebook thing. There's some people that don't do YouTube. They don't like Google. I love YouTube. That's where, like, if you were to choose between which one to watch, I would prefer you watch it on YouTube, but I'm doing it on Facebook because some people just don't like YouTube. They're used to the Facebook interface. Chris, good to have you. Good to see you. Welcome in. Obviously, we're trying to grow this channel into something truly special. So, but yeah, it's going to be a big if for Jaden. It's good, and it's a leap of faith, right? Look, there are some things I've done in my life where I am uncomfortable doing it. Something that I struggle with. All right. I'm just going to be as honest as I possibly can. And Haley and I had, a great conversation about this recently. I've got to become a better planner. Like, I feel like I'm okay at planning like the basic things. Like, I want to look at this tape. I want to look at this video. I want to get this out for the Patreon. I want to get this, contest out, the Joe Burrow giveaway and all of that. But I have major anxiety when it comes to planning things. I just suck at it. I suck at doing it. I am a very, fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy, which can get you in a lot of trouble. And I am becoming a better planner. I'm becoming more organized, even though it doesn't really look like it. I'm trying to. And there's things that you could be the absolute best YouTuber, you could be the absolute best whatever. If you don't plan, you're going, if what is it? If you don't have a plan to fail. There's some things that we all struggle with that we know we can do a better job of, but we don't actually do it because we fear it. Now, same thing is true here with Jaden Daniels. He knows he can make some of these throws. He's not an elite thrower. Mechanically, he's not unbelievably gifted. He doesn't have Mahomes' arm or anything like that. But some of these throws need to be made. Some of them need to be made. And it once again, it doesn't have to be the prettiest. The Ole Miss touchdown to Jure was a late ball. It got there. He threw it. Okay. So that's going to be the next great thing for him. Let's go to Phillips here. I love our new tight end room this year, second in the country to Georgia. Pimpton is a beast. QB best friend, big, fast, strong tight end, matchup nightmare. Yeah, Phillips, on our PHL Patreon, I just actually did a deep breakdown of Pimpton, and I love him. I really, really, really do. Also, on Thursday, I did say that I was going to give you my top 5 players in the class of 2023. And what I could tell you is I actually had a change of thought today for my top 5. Right now, though, guys that are firmly in my top 5 are Pimpton, Lance Hurd, and Sheldon Sampson. Those are the only 3 guys that are in my top 5. The other 2 have been shuffled around quite a bit, and I will give you my final 2. But those 3 guys are there. And obviously, all 3 of them are offensive guys. So because this class was so big, I might separate the offensive and defensive guys. For reference, last year, my top 5 was Harold Perkins 1, Emory Jones 2, Will Campbell 3, Walker Howard 4, and number 5 was either Wiggins or Mason Taylor. It was either one of those 2. So there you go. 6 online changes through 7 games. Shady 5 capitalized on that. I don't think I don't think the offensive line changes were, let me put it this way. The offensive line changes for LSU this year, I know there was a lot of shuffling there. I don't blame Brian Kelly. He had no idea. He had no idea who his best guys were. And that is truly scary, right? I think one major thing we learned from LSU football this year is with the transfer portal being the way that it is now, okay? You don't know anything until you actually see the players on the field. You just don't. You don't know anything until the bullets are actually flying. You don't know anything until you're actually out there. And the reason why I say that is, well, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard to see anything in practice, right? And what I think Brian Kelly is going to do before the start of this spring practice is ask himself, hey, why were we not as good as we needed to be getting the best players on the field week 1, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, by week 3 to week 4-ish of the season, there was probably 4 starters that did not play really that much at all the rest of the year, that just weren't the right guys to start. And it was costly versus Florida State, right? It was very costly. Now, it's nothing to those players. And I mean, the coaches didn't know if they weren't the best options for us. And some of the guys that replaced those players were true freshmen. But I think that's a question LSU will try their best to answer before they get to spring football. Because, going into the year, they thought Mike Jones was going to be really freaking good. For whatever reason, he just fell completely out of the lineup. And he was our media day representative. He was voted a team captain. And that was tough. That was tough. And that's the thing about college football. You don't have preseason games. There's nothing that you could truly replicate. A spring game, anything that makes you say, wow, this is what the actual games are like. Here's a good point right here from Carvis. We beat FSU if Perkins started. Not only him, but, I know this would have been brutal on him. And I think it actually did work out for the better that he didn't start. But Emory Jones at right tackle, right? Because we, with the lineup that we had, could not block Florida State's front. And, I'll keep going back to this. Obviously, Jaden's best games were Alabama, Ole Miss, Florida. Whichever order you want to put them in is fine with me. Those are his 3 best games. But the game he played way better than anyone else on our team was the Florida State game. He bailed us out of that game. It's what the tape showed. Now, did he miss some things? Yeah, but man, any other quarterback not named Jaden Daniels would not have done anything in that game because it took a world-class sprinter to run away from the pressures that we were giving up in that game. And, Jaden is not a world-class sprinter, but you guys get what I'm saying. He's a very, very, very fast player. So yeah, it's one of those things, right? Now, I've touched on everything that I wanted to touch on to start, right? We know Jaden Daniels, the advanced stats support him as the quarterback for next year. The film has got to back it up. The raw numbers have got to back it up as well. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor for any questions LSU football related. It could be who was the best player on the 2016 team, or who was the it could be anything LSU football related. That's the fun thing about a live stream. Stream of consciousness, super chat, your first question. 30 minutes in, we haven't gotten a super chat yet. So if you want to pick any topic, LSU football related, feel free to super chat. We'll go straight to it. And yeah, we have plenty of time to talk about Jaden versus Garrett Nussmeier. Notice I haven't talked a whole lot about Garrett. I did spent a lot of time looking at Jaden today. And, I've been telling you, I'm working on a Jaden deep dive. I just keep going back and rewatching plays. And I'm going to tell you this. He is a lot of fun to watch. It can be painful sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. Okay? Jared, thank you for the super chat. You get to pick the next topic. Anything LSU football related under the sun, Jared, will go straight to it. Here is someone that I am really leaning on. He or she gave me a super dope wedding registry gift. Me and Hay really appreciate it. I can't wait to see what it is. It's coming in on January 31st. I know it's going to be dope, though. Let's see. JD5 is a quick runner, but not quick to get the offense moving at the start of the game. That's something else. We have got to start faster. I mean, it is inexcusable how slow we are right out of the gates. And I don't know what that is, right? Some of that, Danny, is, some of that is game planning, right? What I think our slow start showed us is we have really good coaches and players when it comes to trying to figure out how to win a game, right? So we were a better second quarter team. We were a better third quarter team. Under Ed Orgeron, even the 2019 LSU team, the third quarter was our worst quarter, okay? So it made for a lot of scrambling, right? But we were really good in the second and third quarters of games this year. We really were. And that's a sign of a gritty team. That's a sign of a good coach between the headsets, making adjustments. But yeah, we have got to script our opening plays better. We have got to come out of the gates better, right? And if we do that, we will be a better football team. Target and Amazon. Tyler, just shoot me a message. I'll send you a link. So there you go. So coming up here in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk Bengals versus Chiefs. We're going to talk 49ers versus 49ers versus Eagles. Let's see. In a second. Hey, Danny. I think there's a point to conversation about that's because BK already announced JD as a starter. So for me, we can wish something different, but it doesn't change reality. Will the best QB play? See, I do think the spring will be a little bit more competitive, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to unseat Jaden. He's been a very good football player. Phillips says Trey Holly, Deshaun Womack, Hurd, and Whit Weeks is his top 5. Only 4, but that's a good 5. I like Malik number 7 and Wingo number 18 next year. Wingo number 18, I can get down with that. JD needs to trust his receivers and give them a chance. Ness trusts his arm and wide receivers to make a play. JD trusts his legs. Yeah. There's some truth in that. Now, the next thing I want to mention here is how will the LSU offensive line start next year, right? Who will start on the LSU offensive line next year? I think that's a very interesting question. I know Carvis has had a few thoughts on that. Should it be the same offensive line we ended with last year? Obviously, Bradford's gone to the NFL, so you would think Garrett Dellinger would probably move to right guard, or Frazier move to right guard and Deli to left guard. And your starting offensive line is essentially going to be the offensive line you ended with last year, right? It was Will Campbell at left tackle, at left guard. You had Miles Frazier, Charles Turner at center, and then at right guard. You had Bradford and Emory Jones at right tackle. I do think LSU will really look into moving Emory Jones to one of the guard positions and potentially putting someone else at tackle. I do think they'll look into it because that's where they initially scouted Emory Jones to play, which is guard. And we're going to see if that actually is where they lined them up. It's a good question. How do we say there's a spring quarterback competition? BK already said JD is QB1. So I think the quote is what was a little bit more open to interpretation when he said what he said. So Brian Kelly obviously said that after the Purdue game. Okay, JD5 is our starting quarterback. I do think the way he said it could be interpreted as this. He is our starting quarterback right now, right? Like, like whenever a coach get asked this question, right there on the spot, who's your starter? They'll say, Zach Wilson is our starting quarterback. That doesn't mean that Brian Kelly is saying JD5 is going to be our QB1 versus Florida State. More than likely he's going to be. But the way I heard it could be interpreted as him saying, if we had to start a game right now, Jaden would be our number 1 guy. Now, he could have meant Jaden is gazillion % going to be our number 1 guy. Could be. But I do think, and I really do mean this, I do think Jaden Daniels will be pushed by Garrett Nussmeier. I do. Now, coming up in about 5 minutes, we're going to be talking some NFL. So if you want to get some Burrow questions in, Patrick Mahomes questions in, we'll obviously get to that. Rome, what's good, man? Rome wasn't built in a day. Campbell, Dellinger, Martinez, Jones, Hurd. I think that could be your starting lineup midway through the season. Obviously, Miles Frazier is going to have a lot to say about that. So we'll see. Hurd, Jones, Martinez, Dellinger. Well, I do think Emory would play right guard. Okay, you actually went from right to left. This is interesting. So Phillips went left to right with the offensive line from right to left. So he went left to right while naming the offensive line right to left. There we go. I agree. It's a money year for Dellinger. Year 3. Good point. So, I kind of feel like giving this out tonight. I have a few other ones that are a little bit cooler than this. Only on PHL will you find a Charles Turner autograph card. Look at that. Look at that smile. Look at that. How can you not love that smile right there? I kind of feel like giving this out tonight. We talk about him a lot on here. Not many people spend as much time talking about Charles Turner as we do. Pigeon Forge, what's up, buddy? Left tackle Will, left guard Deli, centers Martinez, Frazier, and Jones to start next year. I don't know. If I deem somebody worthy of the Charles Turner card, we shall see. I'm a little disappointed. I lost my new roll of tape. Ugh. I'm shipping out a bunch of hats. I quite literally only have like 2 more hats for sale. I shipped out Branson's hat. He just bought one. It's not good. No bueno. No hat. William, send me a photo of it in the Discord, man. I'd love to see you. Nobody excites me like a good Pigeon Forge sighting. Deli looked bad after an injury. Didn't have the same feet. Well, I think he had the same feet. That would be kind of weird. What if Deli got him from surgery and looked at it? He was like, "Whoa, what are these?" And his feet were like bear claws, and they're like, "What happened?" I love it. But yeah, a few more before we get to our guest here this lovely evening. Yes, for sure, William. Joshua, you're in luck, man. I'm going to answer some of your football card questions tonight. The poll question's up. Joe Burrow throws for 350 plus yards versus the Chiefs. 67% of you said true. 350 yards in a playoff game. 350 yards. Did you know Joe Burrow has averaged 259 passing yards per game in all 6 of his playoff games? And you're expecting him to go 90 yards over his average? Really? Are you kidding me? That's a lot. That is a whole Hades of a lot of passing yards. Really? Very interesting. So, I don't think he throws for that many. But what I'll show you, we're giving one out on Patreon. So if you're a patron, patreon.com/LSU football. Okay. But we're also doing this one on Twitter. Joey Burrow giveaway. Follow Power Hour LSU and retweet this post. Guess the total amount of points in the Bengals versus Chiefs game. And you can win this at Power Hour LSU. There you go. Gotta love it. Now, I need some clap emojis in the chat. Give me some clap emojis. Give me some clap emojis in the chat for our next guest. You know him as my Fantasy Football Card Quest co-host. You could check us out. Fantasy Football Card Quest. All you got to type in, honestly, is Football Card Quest. And if you go there, you could see our weekly podcast that we do live every Tuesday. It's during the day, not conflicting with Power Hour LSU. We're going to chat some NFL with Andy Cason. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Carter? I appreciate you having me on the show, man. I am pumped up about the games tomorrow. 350 yards from Joe Burrow is steep, but dude, this game against the Chiefs should start out as a no holds bar, just brawl, just a gun show.
So Andy looks at the fantasy football stats, he looks at the analytics, and our favorite thing, of course, is football cards. So we do a show every week, every Tuesday, but this is not just going to be football cards. Andy just loves breaking down the game. As you can tell, he knows the numbers better than I do. So let's start. We'll go to Kansas City and the Bengals in just a second, but we do have a little LSU flavor in this 49ers versus Eagles game. What are your thoughts on this one as the Eagles are sitting as a 3-point favorite?
I like the Eagles in this game, Carter. I think that their game plan on offense with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and knowing that Nick Sirianni is going to game plan to San Fran's weaknesses, right? Because they like to play a lot of zone coverage. They have a really good run defense. So chances are they're going to take some shots deep and early with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. And Jalen Hurts has been a top 10 deep ball passer this year. So I don't think they necessarily go, with a lot of run plays out of the gate. I think they try and attack them deep and put points up on the scoreboard, knowing that their defense is the number one passing defense in the league. And you've got a 7th round rookie behind center for San Francisco. CMC's a little banged up. Yeah, it's only a calf injury, so he's probably going to play. Probably no Elijah Mitchell, but I think that Brock Purdy's going to be put on some serious pressure. I think a lot of people don't realize that the Eagles almost broke the single season sack record with 70 sacks this year. The record's 72.
Type E for Eagles. Type what? 4 for 49ers. Who wins, Eagles or 49ers? Type E for Eagles. Type the number 4 for 49ers. Let me know what you think. Donald says 4. So I also like the Eagles in this one. I really do. I think Jalen Hurts is a lot better than people give him credit for. I know he's a product of the offensive line, but I've seen him throw absolute dimes. I think we've seen some regression from Brock Purdy, but let's just play devil's advocate, right? Since we are on the same side here. We both like the Eagles. Devil's advocate, why would the 49ers be able to go on the road and pull this upset?
Possession. Kyle Shanahan, one of the best play callers in the game, and understanding how to control the time possession, and basically leading these ginormous drives down the field with Christian McCaffrey. And being able to protect Brock Purdy, doing a lot of short passes. Obviously, you're going to have Deebo Samuel sprinkled in the run game and the short passing game. Brandon Ayuk is a yak monster. George Kittle's also going to be there, although he may be used a lot more in the blocking capacity in this game. So I think that's how the 49ers could potentially win this game. And then, of course, they've got a really good defense, right? They've got one of the best rushing defenses. Got some of the most athletic defensive linemen and linebackers, which is also why I think that the Eagles are going to be taking some shots deep, man, taking some shots deep on the outside to Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. And if Hurts can connect with those guys, maybe some Quez Watkins sprinkled in there. If Hurts can connect with those guys and maybe get off a few runs to kind of keep them on their toes, then they could. That's ultimately why I think the Eagles will pull it off. But that's how the 49ers would win this game.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think I like Sirianni as a coach, but Kyle Shanahan's the best coach in the sport. And he's been knocking on the door. He's made deep playoff runs with backup quarterbacks. As much as I do like the Eagles, for some reason, like everything points Eagles to me in this one. There's something in this big gut of mine, and I actually did have lemon pepper chicken wings tonight. There's a lot of lemon pepper chicken wings just sitting right here, just making me think maybe San Francisco pulls this off tomorrow. Maybe Brock Purdy is truly magical.
Man, it would be truly magical. It really would. The Eagles are also going to get Avonte Maddox back, their nickel corner. So, I mean, their defense really is going to be complete. And on paper, especially with the home field advantage, I mean, yes, Brock Purdy has been undefeated, and yes, he has been incredible. He's been absolutely elite for the 49ers, especially over the middle of the field. But I don't think those passes are going to be there. I'll also say, like, if you actually watch the game film from Brock Purdy, there were some very, very lucky plays. And of course, some of this comes down to, does the ball bounce in your favor? Do some of those bobbled George Kittle passes actually go to George Kittle, or do they go to James Bradbury, or something, CJ Gardner Johnson, So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I think it very well could come down to a few plays and maybe the turnover battle tomorrow. This could go a few different ways. It's going to be close.
So don't forget, you could check us out. If you guys can, go subscribe to the Football Card Quest every Tuesday. You could see me right over here. You could see me in this little thing over here pulling out football cards. This is what we do. It's every Tuesday. We did it on Monday this week because I was traveling. But Football Card Quest, if you have any football card questions, that is a place to go. And our show, I'm not going to lie, it's one of my favorite things I do each and every week. Outside of Power Hour LSU stuff, Andy and I just have a ton of fun. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you Bengals and Chiefs breakdown. We know all of you don't care about football cards. But what I will say, Andy, is before we get into some Bengals Chiefs breakdown, this is the number one question that is in my PHL inbox. What do I need to do to get a Joe Burrow card? And Andy, you were here last year, and the advice is still honestly the same. So I'm going to get you to break this down. It's hard. It's really hard to get a very nice autograph, something very rare, because right now the market is at a really high point right now for Joe Burrow cards, and it's autograph cards. So if you can, let people know, just based on your market research, how expensive these cards can actually be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so dynamic, Carter. There's so many different variables. I'll say the easiest way to break it down to understand, there's like different tiers of rookie cards, right? Joe Burrow's got like 4,200 different rookie cards. Each one of those has their own print run. So some of those, yes, they're very rare. They're 1 of 1. They're 5 of 5, 10 of 10. And then you have other ones like this card right here, for example, is a Joe Burrow rated rookie, and it's actually, you can see it's like kind of gold. The rated rookie logo is a little, got like a little bronze or gold color. Right. This is what I would consider for his pro rookie card as like the base entry level tier, because that rated rookie logo right there is iconic. And those are the things you're looking for, right? In terms of a rookie card, you want to first like people to easily be able to tell it's a rookie card, and then you also want to understand that, how much is the supply, like how big is the supply. So for this card, it's pretty big, but it's not crazy. There are cards that are unlicensed. There are cards that people just make in their basement that, they just print on demand, right? Just print on demand. And you can't tell really if it's a rookie card. It's just, you don't want to get into those cards. So you want to look for things very specific. One of those is that rated rookie logo. The other one is like the Prism brand. And then if you are, then we got to talk about the condition and the grade. And that's one of the most important things. If you're looking for cards that are like this, that aren't in a case that's been graded by professional grading authority, then you want to be very careful. The corners, the edges, the centering are very important. Ultimately, if you're looking at these base cards, you can look at PSA 10s. Those are going to hold the best resale value. They're also going to be very liquid. People are going to want to buy those like crazy. They're very highly demanded on a week in, week out basis. Right now, his base Donruss PSA 10, like this card, is going somewhere in the neighborhood close to $100.
Right.
Raw, it's probably going for about $20 to $30. And then there's a bunch of cards that go for a couple pennies. And then the second tier is something that's got like a silver prism finish to it. So like this card, but for Joe Burrow, is going to be a several $100 card. Right. And it's going to be what we consider short print. It's just less common. Instead of there being several thousand of these, there's only a couple hundred. And now all of a sudden it's got some nice shine. This one for Jalen Hurts, I really like because it's got that black background and stuff. And you can find that for a couple $100. And then, the next category up is going to be the more rare serial number cards, or the cards with a rookie autograph. For Joe Burrow, that's going to be anywhere from like 1,500 to 5,000, 10,000 or more, depending on the brand, right? You have like the Prism autos and the rookie ticket autos are in that 2,500 range. And then you have National Treasures and Flawless and Immaculate, which are the cream of the crop brands in the hobby. Those are like 10 to 20,000 plus dollar cards.
Yeah. So this question from Jared: do all the cards grade the same? They're all new. No, they don't. Obviously, it depends on how they were cut. It depends on how Panini put them in the packs. It depends on how you handled the card. They don't all grade the same, and that's why the grade on certain cards is more important. And we can get into a debate about vintage versus modern and all of that. We won't do that here, but they do not all grade the same. Now, there is good news though. All right, about the Joe Burrow card thing. Is cards in his LSU uniform aren't as expensive as cards in his Bengals uniform. And we are an LSU channel. So if you want to get a Joe Burrow card in an LSU uniform, it's going to be more affordable. Obviously, it depends on the set, but that is a good thing. And obviously, once again, we're giving out this card on Twitter. This has one of those, see that shine finish on it, that refractor finish. We're giving that one out. It's one of my favorite Burrow cards. It's him just in the pocket hanging out. Giving that out on Twitter. On the Patreon, I am actually giving out a Bengals card, such as this Joe Burrow, just a very clear base one like that. But I'm also giving out a few more on Patreon, Jamar Chase and all of that. So, Andy, it is a little bit more affordable to get him in an LSU uniform, such as like a Leaf autograph card like this one. It's probably $300, $400 card right now. In the offseason, it'll probably go down like 100, 200, whatever. But yeah, LSU uniform cards are going to be cheaper.
Yeah, if you're a college football fan, I mean, the market is pretty much always going to be ripe for college uniform cards. A lot of them are manufactured by Leaf, so they make some of the nicest college uniform cards out there. They're not licensed by the NFL, so they can't actually display NFL trademark logos, but they are licensed directly with the players and their name, image, and likeness programs. So they can have their name. They'll have like the colors of their uniform on there. And they'll have a little excerpt about the player on the back, and they are made with really high quality. You get the same gold and silver, like the card you just showed, which actually that card you just showed was, I think that was a Panini card, right? Right,
Yeah.
Carter. So, but yeah, I mean, your options are kind of wide open. I would say if you want to buy the college uniform card and also with the thought that I want this to hold value, like I want this to maybe go up in value based on the player's performance, like their career trajectory and everything, then buy one that's autographed, buy one that's got a low serial number, like serial numbered out of 99 or less, and maybe it's got some color match appeal, like a cracked ice parallel is a very popular short print parallel for any player, any card set. And if you have those common denominators, then chances are that card could hold value. Then you could potentially get it graded if it comes back a 10. Now you're 3-5xing the value, even more on that. And if you got the right player, like Jamar Chase, for example, right now it's going to be lit. Like it's going to hold value. It's probably going to go up in value. I mean, Carter, do you think that Jamar Chase is now the best wide receiver in the NFL?
No, I think Justin Jefferson slightly ahead because he's with Kirk Cousins. But I mean, I think they're neck and neck with Tyreek and Devontae, but those guys are older. So that then leads us to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Obviously, they're very popular on this channel. They're nowhere close to Joe's popularity, but they actually are from Louisiana. And, Andy, their cards are also very expensive, especially for wide receivers. Quarterback cards are always going to be way more than the other positions, such as a Zach Wilson card. Some of his autograph stuff costs way more than a Tyreek Hill stuff. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's just how it is. But Andy, it's weird because Jamar and Justin Jefferson, relative to their positions, they are very high.
Yeah, they're very high. These guys actually break the mold, break the norm for what we see typically in the football card hobby, where the quarterbacks are driving the market. But these guys are so young, they're so good, and they just stand out above the other players in the league. In most cases, besides some of those, more or less new age goats that you're talking about, like Devontae and Tyreek and stuff. So I think it's is now. Is there a beef? Is there a beef between LSU and Louisiana Tech, or do they play each other at all? Is there any beef
No,
there?
no,
No,
no, no, nowhere close.
because from the analysis that I'm reading, Jamar Chase should be matched up against L'Jarius Sneed tomorrow, who went to
Oh yeah.
Louisiana Tech. So
No, here's what I'll say. There's probably more animosity for LSU fans to Devonta Smith than there is anybody ever going to be from Louisiana Tech. And Andy, Devonta Smith was actually my play of the week a few times, and he's really good. Like, he's starting to look really freaking good. But even his prices are nowhere close to Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase's. Like, they are so expensive. So I want Andy to come on here just because I do get those three guys all the time. What do I need to do to get a Joe Burrow, a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson card? They're expensive. So there's a few things you can do. You can get a jersey. You can get an autographed jersey. Now, those are going to be a little bit more expensive, but you can put them in a frame, put them in your house, put them on your wall or anything like that. Those could be anywhere from 500, 700. It just depends on where you get it. You can get a deal somewhere else, but you better make sure those are authenticated, right? They'll have like a little sticker or something like that on it. But honestly, Andy, my advice for people, if you really, really wanted a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson card, get it. But also understand, Andy, let the people know they're three of the hottest players on the planet right now playing the sport of football. And it's not just LSU fans you're going to be competing against. You're competing against Vikings fans, Bengals fans, but honestly, just football fans because they see how good these guys are.
yeah, even Joe Burrow's values right now on average, like any of his cards, and compare it to Jalen Hurts, they're twice as much. They're twice as
Crazy.
much.
That's crazy.
Because people already have the expectations that Joe Burrow is a perennial Hall of Famer, and there's Super Bowl wins and MVPs baked in essentially to the prices of his cards. That's what the expectations do. That's kind of what based the hype, right? And he's hyper relevant, and he's Joe Cool, baby. So he's got that swag. It's not that Jalen Hurts doesn't, but he's a contender. He's been there. He's also got the story of his college days. I mean, he's the complete package, and people are absolutely ready to pay that premium, and that's why his values across the board are way elevated. Except when you look at, and this is where the supply and demand gets interesting, because we talk about Brock Purdy. With Brock Purdy's only got like 60 different rookie cards right now, and they're like the manufacturer's like actively trying to figure out ways to print more and get him in sets. So literally, he's got a base mosaic. A mosaic is probably like a pretty popular base major release retail set. It comes out Targets, Walmarts. A lot of people will buy it. It's got a nice chrome finish to it, like a shiny card. But for Joe Burrow, that base mosaic rookie card right now, with him having 4,200 different ones, is like a $20 card. For Brock Purdy, that's a $50, $60 card. I saw a guy pay $80 for it the other day. And so that's the supply and demand dynamic that some people struggle to understand when they go and look at it. They may look and say, oh, well, this Joe Burrow base mosaic rookie card's a good deal at $30 because the Brock Purdy's like 50 or 80. But not understanding that Brock Purdy's only got 50 or 60 different rookie cards, and Burrow's he's got every set they're going to produce for him out. He's got 4,200 different cards.
Yeah. So how do I know if you're buying real cards on eBay? It's a good question. You can get scammed. So there's a few ways you could tell. You can look at the person's feedback, like their name is going to have like a star rating next to it. And that star rating is more important than a 247 Sports or a Rivals.com star rating. Look at that star rating, see if they have good feedback. But yes, unfortunately, eBay is full of scammers. There are a lot of scammers out there. It's hard to circumnavigate that. I would caution against buying anything from someone that doesn't have a lot of feedback or something that looks a little off. Also, Andy, there's a lot of something called reprints that are made, which are fake cards of the original card. So that is where it can get very scary. Those are just a few ways to, avoid that. Um, so I know you're going to say the same thing, Andy. So we're going to move to the next question. Pristine auction. Oh, that's going to be pristine. Will only be like super expensive stuff, right, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they run auctions like PWCC or Golden Auctions, where they have a vault, and it's very high end cards. But consignments like them are a great way to sell your cards if you wanted to, and not have to worry about any of the hassle of taking the perfect pictures or knowing when to time your auctions and this kind of stuff. They just take a percentage of the sale or the overhead, but they're responsible for the whole transaction.
We get a super chat here. Thank you for the super chat, American Patriot. You've been very generous lately. Best retail place to buy cards. Ooh, and it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I think your number one spots are going to be Target and Walmart. Occasionally, they have cards at like Barnes and Nobles or like Walgreens, but they're not going to be any cheaper, and they're not going to have any more variety than what the Target or Walmart would be. I would actually recommend that you go on to blowoutcards.com. A lot of times they run sales, they run deals. You can also see which sets are the best sellers, so you can kind of gauge popularity that way. And you can buy for the same price you'd buy them from Target or Walmart from there, and just compare the two websites to each other. And if you can't find them in the stores because you live in an area where a lot of people like football cards, or like if you typically live in a city, it's going to be still hard to find the good sets on shelves. You'll be able to walk in and find a pro set or a leaf draft, but it's going to be hard to find these premium sets like the Prism or the Donruss that's getting ready to come out. So yeah, definitely. And past draft classes. Like if you want to buy a box of 2020 cards, your best bet is outside of eBay, and you want to get it like directly from a distributor, go to blowoutcards.com.
Don't get retail. That's what I'm just going to objectively say. Don't do it. It's fun to rip packs. Yes, it's fun to have the mystery. I might pull Brock Purdy or whatever. It's not worth it. The boxes are so expensive. So there's these things called blaster boxes, which is the most common kind of box. They're now $30 or 25 to 30-ish dollars, and you might get jack squat in them. Now, it was fun. It was a rush. It was a gamble when for that same 30, you could get a Joe Burrow rated rookie. So retail is not the way to go. That's just how I feel. I only buy singles. If I buy packs, I'll rip it if I'm having a stressful day because it is fun. So yes, I'm just not Andy. I know you're not a pack guy. I'm just not really a pack guy.
No, I'm not a pack guy. I haven't had great luck, so I guess that's part of it. Like the first couple of packs I bought, I didn't really get anything too special. So when that happens, it kind of it kind of keeps you away from going back. But so yeah, and I love the strategy element of and the eBay sold items is kind of like one of my really good friends, and so I can go and really do some research on what stuff is sold for, and I can find deals on really nice cards, and I kind of parlay that with my fantasy knowledge. So it's a very kind of strategic game that I'm playing there, and that's I find that really enjoyable over buying a pack where I may get absolutely nothing. It is fun though.
No, it is fun. So, as Jared points out, when you do buy some of my merch, I throw a lot of my cards in there. They're going to be authentic. I normally throw an autograph in there. I also just randomly send out a bunch of cards via just paper white envelope, right? I sent out actually quite a few today. So yeah, like I give a bunch of my collection out to PHL Nation. Obviously, there's some that I won't ever give out, but I actually sent out a Jamar Chase, very nice Jamar Chase card randomly to a viewer today. So yes, if you watch enough of PHL, you're going to get cards. That's all there is to it. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking to rip people off. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get back into the card questions, but we're also going to break down Bengals versus Chiefs. So, Andy, when you look at the analytics, when you look at the numbers, And once again, if you have any more card questions, keep them coming. We'll go back to them. What say you, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow?
All right. Now, I tell you, this is more or less unbiased. I have become a bigger Joe Burrow fan, thanks to you, Carter. But I am going with the Bengals in this game, man. I'm going with the Bengals. They're playing They're playing too freaking good. We know they're going to come out guns blazing like this. I love the prediction of 350 yards. By the way, the over/under for Joe Burrow passing yards on Underdog Fantasy is 277. So 350 would just be blowing the prop out of the water. But I love it, man. I love the matchup here. The Chiefs are playing a higher than average man coverage rate. I think you get the Bengals center back this week, Ted Karras. He was limited at practice. I think he's going to be back. You still are going to be missing Alex Kappa and one of the other offensive linemen. But the Bengals are just, I think they're going to be able to outscore them. Plus, you have on the other side, you have a hobbled Patrick Mahomes who's limited in practice or practicing full, but on a high ankle sprain. He's obviously going to play, but I think he's not going to be as mobile as he has. If you watched him in the second half of last week's game, he pretty much stayed in the pocket the whole time, and they were throwing short passes to Travis Kelce. Juju Smith-Schuster could do, doing some creative plays with Kadarius Toney. They also get Mecole Hardman back this week. They're using Jerick McKinnon more in a pass blocking role because he's the best pass blocking running back on their team. There is potential they get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back this week, but he's not much of a pass blocker. But he could be he could show up in tomorrow in one of the plays. But ultimately, I've got the Bengals here, just outscoring the Chiefs and also being able to put some pressure on a hobbled Patrick Mahomes and getting the job done, man. Just outscoring them.
Bengals will get to Mahomes a lot. Yeah, the pass rush, Trey Hendrickson's been a beast for them. Hayden Hurst is going to go off. This is a pro Bengals channel when Hayden Hurst gets a reference before Travis Kelce. But yeah, I'll give my thoughts on the Bengals and Chiefs in just a second, but we do have a patron question here from AP. What's your favorite card you own, both of you? I'll go first. So, Andy, I'll let you have time to think because I know you are
got the whole wall behind me.
Yeah, I got this whole wall. I'll show you this one. This is actually one I just acquired, and I actually did get Peyton Manning to hold this card. And I contemplated giving it to him. I probably still just should have gave it to him because this guy means so much to me. But Peyton Manning owns everything. I'm sure he's got game-worn David Beckham stuff. Like the guy, any sports item you could think of, he probably already has. But I wanted to give him this, but he looked at it and he thought it was cool. It's an autograph dual Peyton Manning John Elway card. I actually just picked this up. Only had it for a month. These are actual game-worn patches that these two men both wore, as it states on the back of the card. Has both their autographs on it. I'm not the biggest John Elway fan. I am a huge Peyton Manning fan, though. I always have been. And this one right here, Drew Brees, same thing. Game-worn right there with an autograph. And this is his actual game-worn jersey that he actually wore in a game. So there you go. And now my favorite set is actually this one right here, American Patriot. I know this is getting very nerdy. I just dropped my phone. It's actually all of these, right? This is a Tyrann Mathieu rainbow. So this is every card of this particular set, every variation. There's only 8 in this set, and I have all of them, including this is which is called a 1-of-1, right? Tyrann Mathieu 1-of-1 card. This is the only card if it's in its existence, right? So you could see it right here on the back. It says 1-of-1 right there. You could see it right around there. And I believe actually what makes it very interesting is I'll probably never sell that card. I have it listed for like a lot of money. And the money, like if someone really wanted that card and paid for it, I would have to take it because Haley would be really mad if I didn't take that money for a piece of cardboard. But that card means a lot to me. I'll probably never get rid of it. I think he actually, Andy, I don't know if you know this. I think he actually has 1 of 1 tatted somewhere on his arm, like the actual 1 of 1 print, like how it
Get
is.
out of here.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So those are my top 3 cards. Let's see what you got, Andy.
Yeah, you are officially cultured within the hobby now, having collected a rainbow.
There you go. Got
All right, so I picked a couple. Top 3 for me. It's gonna. I'll go through them really quick. Top 3 for me. One of them, I actually got this from you. It's your boy Leonard Fournette right here, the LSU phenom. 2017 Leonard Fournette RPA. Won this one from Carter in a gentleman's bet. It's a beautiful RPA numbered out of 99 PSA 10. So great condition. And then I got my guys because I am for better or worse a lifelong Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. Lived here in Tampa Bay my whole life. So I absolutely love this card. This is all design and eye appeal for me. And this is Chris Godwin in the number 12 before he, gave it up to Brady, of course. But I love the checkerboard design. This card's also numbered out of 49. It was super hard to actually get my hands on because of the design and the Bucs flag in the background. So love that. And then I got a big Mike here, Mike Evans. This is a Mike Evans rookie auto from Prison. This one's numbered out of 35. And so those guys didn't have such a great year. Both of them had a down year, but those are, two of my favorite players, man, from my own team. And love those cards, the design, look, and everything.
Yeah, so quick story on the Fournette. So Andy won that in a bet. Now, what's funny is during the year, we made 2 bets for Saints versus Buccaneers, and he lost both of them. Remember, we beat them both. And then in the playoff, I was like, it's a playoff. I felt so good. We were at home. Let's make it a $50 card. And
I tried to avoid you all week.
I felt so good about the Saints. And they lost that game, and we had up the ante. And I said, look, I have a bunch of Leonard Fournette stuff. Let me send that card to Andy. I didn't know you'd hold on to it for as long as you've held on to it. It's a beautiful card. It's an absolute beauty.
I can't sell that card, man. I'm not selling. That's a trophy on the wall right there, baby.
So here's a guy that actually is a higher end collector. I'll connect both of you, but Zach, Andy, does something really advanced. He is a Jordan collector.
Ooh.
That's way above us. That's way above us, man. So not only is he a Jordan collector, Andy, he's collecting the Jordan inserts. Oh, look at you. You got Mike up there. Look at that. Zach is currently collecting Jordan inserts. And that is a really difficult thing to collect. And his insert collection is becoming pretty good. But yeah, Michael Jordan's a completely different animal when it comes to sports cards. He is his own. Like, he's not even a basketball player. Jordan and everything is just his own thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm after the ultimate Michael Jordan insert, but for Mike Allstott. It's from Precious Metal Gems or Metal Universe, 1997 Precious Metal Gems. Michael Jordan card is probably some ungodly number, but even for Mike Allstott, that's like a $500 card. So you can only imagine what it is for Michael Jordan. It's a beautiful card, though. I mean, it's rare. The eye appeal is just insane. For 1997, it's just a gorgeous card. Yeah, piece of art.
Breeze, besides Burrow, is my favorite quarterback of all time. Andy, I know you're a Brady guy. My top 3. Obviously, Joe should be number 1, but obviously meeting this guy this week obviously takes it to the next level. I just think Peyton Manning changed all of it. I just think he is the most revolutionary quarterback of the modern era. And it's not just the Omaha stuff. It's not him being funny or anything like that. It's him changing the game at the line of scrimmage. It's the same way Steph Curry changed the game with 3-point shots. 3-point shots were made way before Steph Curry, way before Steph Curry. But he changed the way they were shot, right? Everybody shoots threes now. And Peyton Manning just changed everything. So Manning is always going to be my number one. I was just such a big fan of his. Now, my bias seeps in when I say Joe Burrow or Drew Brees. Those guys are probably my real number ones. But objectively speaking, Peyton Manning is my guy. Now, is Tom Brady still your guy, or is that your favorite quarterback of all time?
I mean, obviously, I have a lot of respect, and I got a lot of respect for him because he brought a Super Bowl to my team.
Right.
I do think it's time for him to move on. Honestly, we don't have enough pieces to put around him to protect him. He's terrified of taking a hit. So I mean, all time, like I respect him a ton for what he's done. My team and the Patriots and just his career and everything is insane. But honestly, I do think Peyton Manning was better than him. And
okay.
yeah, I do. Honestly, I really do. From a offensive genius standpoint, I think Peyton Manning was better. And I like Peyton. Like, I mean, I would rather if we were to suit up right now and play a game of Madden for money, like give me Peyton Manning and the Colts from early 2000s or whatever. So I'll take Peyton Manning in that situation. Yeah, I like Bree. I love the accuracy and the consistency of Drew Brees, man. Just so good for his size. And I like athletic quarterbacks that can also scramble and get out of the pocket. So I used to always like watching Donovan McNabb play and Michael Vick play. Like, he was crazy, So yeah, I mean, I think some of these guys in the league now, it's crazy. Like, it is crazy to watch some of the escape acts that Joe Burrow puts on out of the pocket for a guy that's not nearly as athletic as Jalen Hurts or even Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Joe Burrow's is his like spatial awareness and his ability to escape pressure sometimes is just mind blowing.
Do I like Tom Holland, the Spider-Man star? What's interesting is Spider-Man cards are actually expensive too. Some of those Marvel cards will go for a lot. Welcome Devin. He is the nephew of our buddy William. Joe Namath cards are expensive. Joe, you would be shocked. Isn't that right? Like, vintage Joe Namath stuff can get steep.
It's so iconic.
Right.
Vintage Joe Namath stuff. You're talking about that tall boy card from the 60s. I mean, it's an iconic card. When you see that card, there is absolutely no mistaking it, to the point where Topps has actually remade that card. Back in 2014, for example, he remade that card. They remade that card for Mike Evans, Devontae Adams rookies and stuff. And so the card is super iconic, and it's very hard to get a high grade on it. When you go back to vintage,
wait, hold on 1 second, Andy. I want you to guess the first Joe Namath 1965 BVG Beckett 8.5. I want you to guess what it's listed as.
So it's a BVG, as a Beckett vintage grading 8.5.
Yeah.
So this is actually a really high grade for a card that old, and for a player that is as popular as Joe Namath, because a lot of people were collecting them in the 60s, and probably at that time, a lot of people put them in bicycle spokes and stuff like that. If you talk to some of the old timers, the way they treated cards, I'm going to guess this is probably $60,000 card, something crazy like this.
You're not far off, man. 47. If you wanted this card, $47,000.
And see, this is the kind of card I would never ever buy raw.
Never.
Because the chances of it being fake are super high. We've actually had a close friend, crazy Jets fan, big Jets fan, and he was hunting this card for a long time. Thought he actually found one that was authentic, raw, not in a case, because it had like the creases. It looked like it was genuine. He submitted to get graded and came back that it was fake. So there's people will go to some serious extent to make cards look real. And, and when it comes to vintage cards like this, it's just better off to buy them already in a case graded.
Look at that. That is a gorgeous card, though. Look at the color on this one. It's actually really good. God bless. That is, that's a really cool card. I don't know if I'd ever pay. I don't know. I'm just not really a vintage guy. Um, but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, like Johnny Unitas, Jim Brown, Walter Payton stuff can get very expensive. But there you go. Now, following up on this, Bengals Chiefs tomorrow. I do like Cincy. There's a piece of me though that wants to do like the simplistic, hey, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be beat 4 times in a row by any team. So I'm still going Bengals. I think their defense is better right now. I think their quarterback is better because we know he's fully healthy. Um, I think the receivers are better with the Bengals. That's not even a question. Obviously, the Chiefs had the better offensive line. The Chiefs had the better coaching staff. They do have the home field advantage. But I like the Bengals here.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? The Chiefs only gave up, I think it was 24 sacks on the season, which is really low compared to league average. However, a lot of those pressure plays, Patrick Mahomes rushed out of the pocket and he did Mahomes things. He's not going to be able to do that tomorrow. I think he's going to be retained to the pocket quite a bit with this high ankle sprain. He's not going to be nearly as mobile as he has been throughout the season. So this is definitely going to affect the gameplay and the usage. I think we're going to see a lot of short area yardage passes. He's probably is going to attack the outside. He's probably going to throw some deep balls to MVS, maybe with Miko Hardman back in there. And you have or Justin Watson is the other guy that's a field stretcher like wide receiver 3, 4. They're going to attack Eli Apple. If there's one guy that goes for the home run in the Cincinnati secondary on defense, it's Eli Apple. So hopefully Eli Apple keeps his head on straight and doesn't do anything too crazy, sticks to his man, because that's probably where Mahomes will attack. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of short area stuff. To Kelsey and maybe Miko, Kadarius, Juju, that kind of thing, and they're going to try and plot their way down the field. But it's going to be fireworks. Absolutely, Bengals are going to come out guns blazing, man.
Football Card Quest is where you can find us. Okay, so before we let you go, Andre Sale, that's a deep cut. Jordan, we'll get to him in just a second. I'll put you on here in a second. It is late in the East Coast for Andy. I want to go ahead and give him one more shout out. Show some clap emojis to Andy and the Card Quest Nation. It's very simple, Andy. Tell people about not only your show, but our show that we do.
Oh, yeah, man. I love our show, our QuestCast every Tuesday. We go through something that's very, very interesting. All the various topics around football cards. We break down the latest and greatest NFL storylines and parlay that with what's going on with the players' football cards. And then we also talk about some fantasy football. We talk about NFL betting, and we give hobby tips. We talk about our plays of the week, and we break it down a lot of the data and get behind the numbers. So I really like to let the data speak for itself on my channel. So I'm a big proponent of actually getting in the weeds and doing the research and just presenting that data and then providing my opinions on some NFL analysis based on everything that I read and see. And we're dialed in, man. It's a great show. It's a great show. So absolutely, if you guys are into fantasy football and football cards, definitely want to check it out.
There you go. So subscribe, and guess what? Subscribe right now. And we'd love to answer your personal questions. If you have any questions regarding football cards, obviously we have a patron Discord on Power Hour LSU. But what I'll do is, if it's above my knowledge, I go to Andy and get his opinion on it. And it obviously helps grow our football card collection. I know Joshua's been building his collection. Jacob Wiggins has been building his collection. Jared as well. William Kingery, who's from Pigeon Forge, he has really been working hard on building his collection. There are some good ways to do it. There are some very expensive and not so great ways to do it. That's why you should listen to the show each and every week. We give a hobby tip of the week. We give a play of the week. Sometimes my play of the weeks don't turn out well. I gave Jameis Winston, he sucked. Sometimes they do turn out well, Devonta Smith. But that's what we do, man, the football card quest. So Andy and I both have Eagles and Bengals tomorrow. That means you should bet the farm on the Chiefs and 49ers, right, Andy?
Probably wouldn't hurt to hedge the bets a little bit, depending on what form of betting you're doing.
There you go. Football card quest. Andy, my brother, my co-host. Let's go. Give me your best. Let's go, Andy.
Okay, like one with the GEAUX.
Yeah, give us your best, man.
Let's go.
Let's go. I love it. All right, Andy. Tell the kids and the fam I said hi, and thank you so much, brother.
All right, guys.
See you, bud. It's Andy Cason right there, man. What a beast. What an absolute beast. So, yeah, Andre Sale. I'll put him on. Why not? Why would Jordan be fibbing about this? So, for the second time, Jordan is going to get Jared, I got you. There honestly is a very good, cheap, and easy way to do this. Okay. And I should have got Andy to bring this up. But if you really want a cheap, fun way to collect cards, don't collect Joe Burrow. It's going to get expensive. I'm just warning you. Think of, because everybody on this channel, your favorite player is probably Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, especially if you have kids, right? Because those are the guys that just played. Your kids probably don't remember Tre'Davious White or anyone like that. But think of someone that you really do like, okay? Think of one LSU football player. It could be Billy Cannon. You could get some good Billy Cannon cards for like $2. You really can. But that's a little too old. It's not going to be as fun, right? Now, someone that is very cheap to collect, and he is a friend of the show, Jeremy Hill. You could build a nasty Jeremy Hill collection for super cheap. Like his autograph patch cards, some of which he wore, $4 or $5. I traded some Alvin Kamara stuff that I didn't really care for anymore. I'm wearing an Alvin Kamara shirt actually right now. And I was able to trade to get some super rare Jeremy Hill stuff the other day because Jeremy's not playing anymore. You could build a nasty Jeremy Hill collection. You could build a nasty Jarvis Landry collection. You could build a nasty Fournette collection for a lot cheaper than you could build a Joe Burrow collection. So if you really want a cheaper, funner, non-break the bank way of doing this, think of like Jamal Adams. You can do super, dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. Appreciate you. Hey, the show's just getting started, Bob. Show is just getting started. So I'm going to send this invite link. Potentially Andre Sale will be on. Let's see. All right. Remember Andre Sale. Hey, we get our biggest super chat of the night. There's Andre Sale for you right there. Have him on here in a second. I don't even remember what years he played at LSU. Been working on my Burrow collection, but I want some Justin Jefferson cards. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, man. Jets is also expensive, and I'm just being as honest as I possibly can. There are a lot more Justin Jefferson super collectors out there I know the number one Jefferson collector. He's actually been on the channel with Andy and I, and he lives in California, right? So he doesn't even live in Minnesota. He doesn't live in LSU. He doesn't live in Louisiana. So what you got to remember is when someone is an MVP candidate, everybody knows who he is and everybody wants a piece of him, right? So it's different than if you are a if it's different if you are just a like just an LSU Justin Jefferson collector. Like you're a real fan of his, right? You were one of his first fans. You've seen his high school tape from Destrehan. So, for me, I'm not discouraging anybody, but it can destroy your bankroll. Now, here's the thing: if he still plays at an extremely high level, your collection will go up. But you got to ask yourself this question as well: how much better can he actually get than what he is right now? Like, is this the absolute peak? Do you see a way forward for him to play in a Super Bowl? It's hard, right? Because he plays for Minnesota. Their defense is bad. Kirk Cousins is not the absolute best quarterback. So, in just a second, we're going to talk to Jordan Haddad. I think he's got Andre Sale. We'll talk to him. I don't know where he's walking to right now. He's going somewhere. Jared Lee, the general. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. What's up, Big Al? Just think if Justin Jefferson had a steady, good QB. Yeah, and look, Kirk is fine. Like, I mean, I would put Kirk Cousins like just outside the 10, top 10. But, he's not great. I think I just think that team, like, are they ever going to have everything together? Like, they're getting ready to go to the Super Bowl. Ken Anderson misses a kick. So, one of my friends works for them, and she's awesome, Tatum Everett. But yeah, if you want to build a Jared Lee collection, go right on ahead. Hated that nickname, but that was his nickname. The General. Jefferson, yeah, I mean, look, could he? There's a lot of people out there that think, well, at some point, Justin Jefferson is going to at some point Justin Jefferson is going to play with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Really? You really think that? No. Do you know how big Justin Jefferson's next contract is going to be? Knowing what Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams has gotten, don't you think he is going to get one of the fattest contracts? And if he was to sign with the Bengals, they still got to pay Jamar Chase. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to want a discount. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to want a discount. Don't blame him either. They got to make their money. So yeah, but Jared Lee, I have some Jared Lee stuff. I knew Jared in college. He was great. Like, not an absolute great player, but he was good. He is, but it's going to take a lot. Like, it's going to take a lot for him to go to a Super Bowl. A lot. All right, let's see if Jordan is ready to go. Jordan, are you ready to go? Let me see him. I see he's been moving around a whole bunch. Are you on the floor? This is going to get chaotic. What's up, Jordan? How are you, man?
I hope my volume's working this time.
It is.
All right. Well, I got Andre Sale for you, and we just wanted to holler at the PHL Nation. And if you had any questions, what year is 18?
I was at 18. Yep.
Yeah. Scout team quarterback 2018 behind Joe Burrow, behind those guys. So I'll turn it over to him and see what you can pick his brain about.
Yeah, let's talk to him. I know he's from Arkansas, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, from Little Rock. That's right. Yeah, I went to high school in Arkansas, so that's cool. Look at that shirt.
Where,
Let's
where,
see.
where-
Let's see, Andre. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Where in Arkansas did you go to high school?
I went to El Dorado.
Okay, the Wildcats.
Wildcats, baby. We were
Sure.
proud.
So
We're
Katrina moved me up there. I grew up in Baton Rouge, and Katrina moved me up to Little Rock.
That's cool. And you got the King James jersey.
Got the King James. I'm watching on ABC on the side, but Jordan's a big fan of yours, so we're watching you as well.
Yeah. So what's the score of the Lakers Celtics game right now?
Man, I think we're just up by 1. Every time LeBron goes out, they go on a run, but
That's cool, man. Well, it's good to talk to someone that was around greatness. So let people know a little. I know a little bit about your background. I'm always like I keep up with all the few Arkansas players that play for LSU. Like got to Brett Helms many years ago. So it was really cool to see you play there. So how long did you play there? How did you get to LSU?
I played there for a year. I was at Tennessee Tech for 2 years, and we had a coach get fired, and I was actually neighbors with Tommy Moffitt in Riverbend in Baton Rouge, and he was a Tennessee Tech grad, and so he had watched me at Tennessee Tech and was like, "Dude, we need a camp arm." They had a few guys transfer out, so I came in the spring, not expecting much, just thinking I could compete with these guys, and then the rest was history. I got in and I learned from Joe. I was there with Miles, and Miles was up and down with injuries, but I just it was a dream come true for me playing at LSU.
Yeah. So when you first got to LSU from Tennessee Tech, when was the first time you met Joe Burrow?
I met Joe over the summer. It was actually we were having camps. So Joe was around during one of the high school camps. He was wearing a Matthew Dellavedova shirt. So of course I was like, all right, King James. I've been a LeBron fan since I was a little kid. So him with the Dellavedova, but he was like, dude, I'm a Dellavedova guy. I was like, all right, you're weird. And then that's how our relationship started, like that.
That's crazy. And what was he like? Those first couple of practices.
Dude, he was quiet. They had a rep. They had a they definitely switched out the quarterback. So it was him, McMillan, Narcisse, Brennan. This is all before I was named eligible, so I got to just kind of look at it. I was in the room with them. I could just kind of be a fan of those guys, and it was definitely Burrow and McMillan who got out in front. I was telling George, this is his story. The way that Joe kind of took over the team was when he was named the starter, but Justin McMillan had outplayed him. So Justin McMillan was the guy. He was the leader. He was the guy who's been there with the guys, and then they named Joe the starter through like 2 weeks of fall camp, I want to say. And we had a team only meeting, and Joe kind of stood up and was like, I'm here. Like, what do you guys have? Like, don't go to the coaches. Like, let's handle this right now. Like, send me whatever shots y'all have at me. And there were a couple guys who stood up, and Joe just took it. And I was like, that's when everyone kind of was like, all right, this is gonna be our guy this year. And the rest was history. I think that UCF game was the game that really sparked him as being the Joe Burrow we know now. But like, he's always had that confidence. He's always had that calm demeanor. I mean, he's the one guy I could say like he did everything better than me. So,
let me ask you this: your objective opinion. Did you think McMillan was outperforming him?
But the stats and with the leadership, McMillan was the guy. And but they brought in Joe, and they had invested so much in Joe. McMillan had a few problems off the field, and so the coaching staff, it was a no-brainer. Like they were really close. And then McMillan went to Tulane and had a good career at Tulane for I think a year or two. And so, but man, he was a beast. He was fun to watch. He was just kind of carefree. He was just go out and play. And Joe was more to the books. He was going to do everything right. And that first year, it was a pro style system, so it wasn't a lot of like just gunslinging. But McMillan was a gunslinger. Joe was to the books.
Devin White.
And Jordan wants me to bring up Devin White. So
go ahead. Yeah.
So me and Devin, I threw a football at him in a practice one time. I felt like he took a cheap shot at me. I ran scout that whole year. Okay. I was mainly the backup that year. Miles had a bunch of injuries throughout that season, so I ran backup. I ran scout. There were weeks that I would take the ones all week, and then Joe would come in and start. But yeah, so there's UCF practice. I think it was week 1. we're getting ready for UCF in the bowl game, and D White hit me, and I stood up and pelted the ball at him. But UCF's offense was so fast paced, we just got back on the ball, so we couldn't start a fight. Thank God for me. So I ran back to the line of scrimmage and we ran the next play, but like Devin was all never from that day on. He was like, "Dude, you took a cheap shot. Like that was cheap. Like you knew you were gonna have to go back in." So that was Devin White's story, but he was a great dude too, man. He was great leader. Just a Cajun country boy. You know, he was riding his horses on campus and stuff. So.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, I know it says Jordan Haddad, but this is Andre Sale is a backup quarterback for the 2018 season only, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yes. And fellow Arkansan to a certain extent. I'm also originally for Baton Rouge as well.
Yep.
I want to get back to, the Joe Burrow meeting. So he got in front of the room and said, "You guys have any questions?" What were some of the questions that do you remember any?
Man, I can't remember. I think Kerry Vincent was the only guy who stood up that I could remember. I know there were a few other guys who did, but I mean, for Joe was very quiet. He was very to his business. He was very professional, and for him to stand up and say that in front of the whole team, it was just like, okay, like he can talk a little bit. Like, because I was in the quarterback room, so I've heard him speak, but I know a bunch of the guys on the team at that point had never heard him even open his mouth. He's very quiet, very professional. Very about his business, and then for him to stand up, then it was just like, okay, he's got a little bit more something to him, And I remember Kerry standing up. I'm sure other guys did, but I mean, it was nothing big at that point when Joe stood up, because it wasn't talked about what that players only meeting was going to be about. But Joe knew. We all knew, especially in the quarterback room. We all knew, and I mean, it was a big deal. Like that was when I was like, there's no question.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is what people don't understand is from a scout team perspective, you're taking a lot of practice team reps, right?
Oh, for sure.
But it's in a different context, right? But when you're doing individual drills, you're all together.
Right.
So when you were there, right, you had travel, you played at Tennessee, Tech. You've seen quarterbacks of all talent levels.
Right.
Joe obviously went 4 games without throwing a touchdown pass in 2018.
Oh, right, for sure.
Did you see any greatness? Or do you think the run-based offense was potentially holding him back, or do you think did you see things in practice that made you go, "Wow, this guy really could be something special"?
Dude, for sure. I never knew he's going to amount to what he is today. I mean, honestly, I don't think anyone's going to say that. But he did everything above average. There wasn't anything that it was like, all right, he needs to work on this. And I know he went off in that off season. He went to California or something. He grew out his flow, and that was the beginning of like, all right, Joe with his confidence and the swagger that he plays with. But like, man, he didn't do anything below average. He everything he did was just like, all right, he does this better than me. He does this better than me. Like my only hope, I hate saying it, my only hope was him getting hurt. And that's horrible to say, but like. It never happened. He's tough. He was the toughest player I've ever played with too. He took that hit at UCF, and he played with a separated shoulder against Bama. I want to say I took all the one reps that week against that. It was, I think we were 3 versus 1 matchup against Bama when they came to Death Valley to beat us.
Yeah. I
took all the 1 reps that week, and I was like, I had nothing to lose, but I was like, we have no chance with me playing quarterback here. But no, he everything he did, I mean, was he set the standard for. Well, I mean, I'm playing arena ball out here in Albuquerque. That's how I'm with Jordan.
Okay,
and,
cool.
He set the standard for what I strive for now. And I texted him the other day. I was like, dude, you're playing the position as perfectly as I've ever seen it played. So, I mean, it's fun to watch now.
You ever talk to him now, or is there? He's in a different stratosphere as a celebrity.
Different stratosphere. The last time he responded was before the year. He didn't respond to me the other day. That's just crazy. He was on that Sports Illustrated article before the year, and I was like, "You still not smiling, Joe?" And he laughed at that, but he didn't respond to me the other day. I mean, it's inspirational to watch how like I was in the same room as him, and now he's playing. Arguably, that's the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, arguably the best quarterback in the world.
Right. And, so, arena ball. I love arena ball. It,
Yep.
I want everyone to listen in on this.
Okay.
Is it still running clock?
Dude, I've never played it before. I have no idea. This is my first year.
So
It's my first year. So
okay. I've been to an arena game.
Okay.
I've been to one in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I just remembered how much fun I had. It was like running clock. Is it still is it still the same arena rules?
Same arena rules is it's like a 50-yard field, I want to say. Very fast paced, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of scoring. So yeah, I moved out here for a medical sales job and then ended up getting recruited by this team, and now I'm playing for the Duke City Gladiators out in Albuquerque. So if anyone's out this way, man, y'all come out to a game. I'd love to talk to you guys. Yeah, first game's gonna be March 25th.
I kind of want. So I'm actually getting married in like 7 days from now.
Oh, awesome, man! Congrats.
Yeah. So one of my really good friends, he can't make the trip. He lives in Albuquerque.
Oh, dude, awesome.
Yeah, very successful guy. But that I just love arena football. I do, because you're still living the dream, right?
Exactly, man. I've been coaching the past 2 years. I was coaching ball, and so I'd given up the dream. My dream was out there, and now it's like, all right, I'm playing again now. So it's like, what could happen? I don't know, but I'm doing it for fun, and it takes a lot of pressure off of me. So it'll be funny. And tell your buddy out in Albuquerque, come check us out. We're an LSU shirt, and not too many out here. So
yeah,
out in the desert.
Joe Burrow doesn't respond to me either, says Jared.
Yeah. He's big time. I only imagine how many he texts and calls. Like, my drunk self is giving out his number. No, I'm kidding. But he's big time. Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yes, sir.
How did you and Jordan become friends? That's interesting.
This is a cool story. So I would go to this bar near my house on Sundays. They had every Sunday game on, and he was wearing an LSU hat and a Grambling State shirt. So I went up to him. I was like, "Let me buy your next drink." And he came and ended up sitting by me, and then we ended up becoming friends after that. He's a lawyer. He's a very successful lawyer here in town. He's a bigger LSU fan than I am, and I played there. But so I mean, the relationship just kind of grew from there. We're going skiing next weekend.
Skiing.
Yes, sir. My first time. So pray for me. All the Catholics out there in Louisiana, say a prayer for me.
There you go. I love it. Well, yeah. Let me see. What happened here? Did he freeze? I don't know. Can y'all still see Jordan? I don't know. Or Andre? I think he can.
Are we frozen up on that screen?
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Gotta fix our connection. You got me now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now. Actually, no. I don't see him at all. FaceTime Joe and chat Andre. Huh?
You're gonna get a decline call.
Yeah, I know. I think that thing is solid on Do Not Disturb.
He's in the thick of it. He's in
right.
Joe Burrow's in the thick of it right now. Joe Burrow's in the thick of it right now. So
right.
unless you're his mom, his dad, his offensive coordinator, you may not be getting picked up. Joe's in the thick of it right now. He's trying to do something historic. So
all right. Well, I know you guys wanted to. I would like to have Andre on again at some point, but I do want to give Andre something, if that's okay. Did he leave already, or is he still there?
He's here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you just fine. So I want Andre to see this. I'm going to give him this card. It's honestly a very simple, just LeBron James card. I'm going to send this to you.
My man.
There
Awesome. Yes,
there
sir.
you go. And what makes this card unique is that he is playing the Pelicans in this card.
Okay.
Here. And I think he's actually – no, this isn't the same variation of your jersey, but I'm going to send this one to you, Andre, for –
Dude, thank you.
Yeah, man.
I might have been at that game. You know, me and Corey Raymond, Coach Raymond, the DVU, we were always at all the Laker games. I'm a LeBron bandwagon, so I don't care what the Lakers do after LeBron leaves, but I was at LeBron's games whenever he was down there.
There you go. Well, I'm gonna be sending this card to you, and we'll have you on again soon. Okay, my friend. Okay, my buddy.
For sure, I'm gonna be tuning in. So let me know what I can do for you guys. You know, I got a bunch more stories. You know, there's a bunch of characters on the team with Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit, Jamar Jets, Coach Osa. We all go way back. So
yeah, well, anybody that's a guest on our channel, we always support them in their post-playing career.
For sure.
We're waiting to see where Jeremy Hill is going to play in the XFL or USFL,
Right.
Ron Brooks and all those guys. So, yeah, man, we'll talk soon. Okay, my brother.
That sounds good, man. Go Tigers.
Go
Thank you
Tigers.
for having me on.
Go.
Yes, sir.
There you go. That was Andre Sale. I know it said Jordan Haddad. So he was a backup quarterback in 2018 for the LSU Tigers. Okay. And that was Joe Burrow's first year. Okay. Obviously, it was short notice. They were just hanging out. He was watching a Lakers game. I would have asked him a ton more questions, but in a more formal setting, we'll have him on again. And that wasn't planned. So he will be getting this LeBron James card on me. Yeah, it was cool. So we'll have him on again soon. It's really cool. I kind of want all of us to go out there for an arena game. That would be affordable. We're talking about, affordable cards and all that stuff. That would be pretty affordable. An arena football game. So there you go. And here's the thing. I'm telling you, some of our least viewed videos and live streams turn out to be some of the best ones, right? Normally, we're floating way over 100 viewers in our chat. We only have 54 tonight. Honestly, I get asked about that. Hey, do you pay attention to the viewers in the top left? Of course you do. You're always looking at that, right? But sometimes I kind of just like 50 or so people just being in here. It makes it a little bit smoother it can make it a smoother conversation instead of when there's like over 2 gazillion people in there. What's up, Johnny 5? Good to see you. So he'll be getting a LeBron card, and I will be winning a Burrow rookie. Huh? I love it, man. I'd so freaking lutely love it. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. The fun thing about this chat tonight is that we are not done. We are not done. All right. In the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. Okay. But if you super chat, we'll keep this party going all night long. Okay. If you super chat, we'll keep it going all night long. Now, the only thing that is better than a 2-hour PHL live stream is what? Stop sneezing. Joshua, wait, did you already write that down? I was going to wait till the 2-hour mark to do it tonight. I love it. Did he already? Let's go. Let's go. Skipper. Is Skipper our winner tonight? I want to show William Pigeon Forge and his nephew watching tonight. That's great. Pigeon Forge rocking the PHL merch. But it is indeed the Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. In 7 days, I get married. 7 days. You know what my biggest fear is in 7 days, I'm going to take my first weekend off in quite some time, and I'm going to lose all my viewers. Every night I go to sleep, there's always something in the back of my mind. What if I lose just all my PHL viewers? What if they all say, what if the YouTube algorithm doesn't push me anymore? What if they just say, I'm done with you? The YouTube overlords are like, I'm done. Then I'm done. I got to go get a job. I got to go, I don't know. But the Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. But every night, like I there's always a piece of me in the back of my mind because life gets busy. Jared has always been super busy with life. He is a new father of twins. Good to see you, Jared. Tell Burgundy I said hello. Sell the cards, last resort. I hate selling my cards. I really do. I've sold. I mean, I'm always very open. I've sold some of my burrows. I have, because they're so high right now. They're so high, and I got a wedding to pay for, right? Um, but I'm also giving some of them out, as you guys can see. Uh, but some of my higher end stuff that actually is worth a little bit, I've sold some of them, but it's not necessarily because I wanted to. Rather sell a kidney. Thank you so much, J Red. It is unforgivable. But what I will say is this: talking to Branson about this some, I am working on a bunch of new projects. We're going to be posting a lot more YouTube shorts and short form stuff. I've been posting some of that on Power Hour SEC, obviously building that up. This off season, I'm going to work harder than I've ever worked. And normally during the off season, I'm working harder than I am during the season. Now, the season can get busier because, that's when you're going to have most of your viewers. But the off season is when I work harder because you really have to earn viewers in the off season, right? I know everyone is pumped up about baseball and women's basketball and gymnastics, as you should be. And I think, the women's basketball, what they did visiting the prison was really cool. And I think, Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson are doing some really good things. So I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to take PHL to the next level. So that's a deep cut joke. I don't know. You notice Gina never showed up after her shooting her shot at me. It didn't seem like it didn't seem like it was a bot. 1997 Metal Universe BGS 95, 1997 Ultra Star Power Plus, 1997 Hoop Frequent Flowers. Give those a look harder, but don't fall in love. Thank you, Zach, for the super chat. This $20 could have gone towards any of those cards. But yeah, the late 90 insert cards are so gorgeous. Let me see. Let me see. These are cool cards. I don't know what I'm looking at. $19.97. I think Star Power Plus. Let's see what that looks like. 1997. These are kind of cool. These are cool. I'll show the viewers this. Look at that. These cards are kind of cool. Oh, that Kobe Bryant's really cool. Actually, not bad. 3 out of 20. Look at this card. Oh, it's up to 160. You see that? It was at 130, and then I click and it's up to 160. Some white on that bottom left corner, but it's a die cut. You expect that. God, dude, that is filthy, dude. Y'all look at this card. Oh, it says 3 out of 20 SPP. Oh, that's a beautiful. That corner's brutal, but who gives a crap? That. Oh man. BGS 9.5s. I love it. That Kobe's filthy, man. Let's see, 1997 hoop. Pull two of these rounded cornered cards. Here's a Jordan. These cards are just so unique, man. Rounded off. Interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. Oh, so you're just doing Jordan? Okay. Oh, of course you're just doing Jordan. What was the let's see, Ultra Star Power Plus. Here we go. There you go. So this right here. One out of 20. That's so cool. Obviously, that's brutal, but who cares? Patrick Beverly. Kobe cards. Ooh. Good luck on that. You'll be spinning an arm and a leg on Kobe stuff. Dude just took a photographer's camera to show a ref that he missed a foul. I'll pull it up. Huh? Crazy. Sounds like anime characters. It's funny. Oh, man. Obviously, Josh, it just depends on the card. It also depends on the buyer. I am very Zach is like this too, but like I am not a sucker for a grade. Like I'm just probably out of more people that are really into it, like myself. I just don't care too much about the grade. Now, my dad is a collector; he only collects 10s. That's just not as important to me. It's just not. Does it mean something? Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it didn't mean something. For modern, yes, not for vintage though. Like if it's obviously if it's a vintage Joe Namath card, then a 7 is a big card. Obviously your Mickey Mantle PSA 7, you would be retired if you had that card. But a Joe Burrow PSA 7, just not going to be that great of a card. Obviously, it depends on the card. It could be something super duper rare. It could be a thick card, which is tough to grade. But yeah, it's just 7 is a little low, right? Now, here's what we're going to do. I'll be chatting in the Discord, patreon.com/LSU football in just a moment. So come on over, patreon.com/LSU football. Appreciate the Preston Collection. Appreciate both of our guests tonight, Andy Cason and Andre Sale. It was a lot of fun. Edit! Power Hour. LSU. Boom! And tonight, what am I getting my dad on here? Funny thing is, he has been on here before. You just don't know it. And tonight, we are lemon pepper chicken wings. Let's go.